It's a two-parter? It's a two-parter.
Yeah, it's a two-part question. So you have worked on a lot of television shows over the years. Was there a point in the evolution of Supernatural when you realized that you were dealing with a show that had a unique relationship with its fan base that you hadn't seen before in your career? Was there a tipping point? Was there
I don't know if there was a tipping point, but really early on you got the sense from the letters we would get and the gifts that would be either sent to the office in Los Angeles or sent to Vancouver, the production offices. People went to these amazing lengths, tapestries, chess sets that are carved of the characters of Supernatural. So, you know, I got a sense that we were really doing something that was much different than I had ever encountered. I don't think it was until I went to Comic-Con one year that I realized the extent. And then as I look out into this crowd, again, it's just sort of overwhelming. And as I said to a reporter who asked, I said, one thing about meeting the fans, and I think 52 countries are represented here, is that you guys are really a family, you know, brought together by this TV show. And that's a remarkable thing, and I don't know how many TV shows can really say that. And you know, you're all so nice and polite and seem to just love each other. And that's really unique. Except for you.
And also, what you guys don't see is I mean, you are experiencing this family that is in this room and that is the fandom, but you don't get to experience the family that is the show. And this crew, we just took our and I think somebody tweeted it or Facebooked it or whatever that stuff's called. But it was the 10. It was every crew member or cast member that had been a part of the show for 10 seasons, and it was a rather large group. And a lot of the people, I mean, that's all 10 seasons. A lot of the people have been on for 8 years, 9 years, 7 years, 6 years. That's a very, very long time to spend on any one project in the entertainment industry. And so there's a family that exists within the show as well as surrounding the show that is pretty amazing and inspiring and intense. And you know, I consider these guys two of my closest friends, and because of that, and that is a rarity. And the fact that is also reflected in what we see with you guys is just awesome in the true sense of the word.
one more addendum? It is a family, and when we've told Bob this, but when Bob comes up to direct an episode, which happens a few times every year, the whole crew is just so excited because it's like dad is coming home, and it's a dad that they love. It really is, and it's palpable on set.
At this stage, I think it's more grandpa, but anyway, let's thank you.
All right. Question here.
Hello, my original question was for Jensen.
It's okay. Original questions out the window. Just ask the question. Either I'll answer it, he'll answer it, or we'll just move on. I'm just kidding.
Right, what do you think John would feel about his son receiving the mark of Cain? And do you think he would have hunted him?
Good question. I don't think John would have hunted him. I think John's first loyalty always after Mom died was to the boys. I think he would have done everything in his power in the same way that Sam is trying to help get rid of the mark and save his son. So I don't think he would have hunted him at all. No.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw that early on when John was very willing to sacrifice himself for his sons, and I think that he would have gone and done anything to save he would have sacrificed himself in whatever way, shape, or form to protect his children. And I think that's, we talked earlier about, what kind of father was John really, and I think that, this taps into that a little bit in the fact that he would have sacrificed himself completely and wholeheartedly to save his sons. And so, yes, it wasn't the perfect father-son, relationship. It wasn't the perfect childhood for these two guys, but there was a father that protected them and that loved them and that taught them how to survive. And I think that's, that was some of his greatest assets as a father. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. So throughout the season, we got to see many different sides of Dean. We see him going from bad because of Marcus affecting him, and then he just regular nice Dean. So what is the process that goes into changing from regular Dean to Demon Dean, and is that change hard from the acting and directing perspective?
I'll answer a little bit of that. I would say yes, anytime you alter the character, considerably, you're taking on a challenge, especially when that character is still within this new alteration. And so the fact that Demon Dean was not a demon that was possessing Dean, the fact that it was actually Dean and his soul had been twisted, so there needed to be a flavor of real Dean, plus what also this kind of this demon version of it, and that was tricky from an acting standpoint. And yeah, I would say it's difficult, but it's the challenge that, that's what we do. That's why they hired us in the beginning, is because that's the trade that we are craftsmen in, and I think that's the challenge that we like to take on. So from a directing standpoint,
What strikes me just now? I was just reflecting on last year. I believe it was last year during a panel together. You and I think we were dry humping the chairs and doing a disco dance-off, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm noticing that the tenor changes a little bit around Bob. We're answering the question seriously. Talking about the craft. It's a refreshing reprieve from our normal antics. I like it.
He's not lying.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. From a producing, directing point of view, I'm just doing a signal here. From a producing, directing point of view, this is what we feel. And we did this with Misha. I can't remember what year, but we did an episode that went into the future, and Misha basically became Timothy Leary. I don't know if you guys remember who that was, but we don't feel that we can stretch these guys enough. There's nothing that we can write in a character. By the way, Eugenie, stand up, please. This is Eugenie Ross-Lemming, one of our co-executive producers. And
one of our brilliant writers. Also the better half to this one.
So we have such confidence in these guys, and that had to grow over time, but we knew really early on that there was very little acting challenges that we couldn't give them, that they couldn't step up to the plate. And I think that both Misha and Jensen and Jared, too bad he's not here, but they actually like those challenges. I think if you're on a show for 10 years and you're just doing the same stuff over and over again, I think actors are going to start phoning it in. So the more we can challenge them, the more engaged they stay. So it's kind of a mutual give and take. As far as the directing goes, directing both of these guys is just a pleasure. They come ready to play. They have an idea of what they want to do in the scene, and if I have a suggestion, they're generally open to that, and we'll try. We have a lot of fun playing around with these scenes. So Yeah, they're a joy to work with, and I don't think the writers for a moment say, "Well, that might push them too much." There is no limit with either one of them.
Thank you.
Have you shown your Bob directing impersonation?
Oh, you guys have seen me do Bob, right? You've seen me do the Bob coming on stage and giving the choice of words.
Okay,
that
here
he
I'll be
uses.
Jensen and you be Bob.
Okay, but it's tough because I got to come up with the right words. The right words that Bob uses,
Okay.
because they're thought out and they're really particular. And what they do is, and this is from any really great director, is they know just the right thing to say that can pull that performance out of an actor. And when you have somebody that knows those words, it makes my job as an actor that much more simpler. So
here I'll do Jensen doing a little bit from a scene, right? Sammy, I love you like a brother. And then we hear, cut.
So then I do the scene, right?
Sammy, I love you like a brother.
I don't know why I gave Bob the John Wayne walk. He doesn't walk like that. Another one of my most favorite Bobisms is he'll come on set after we got a shot. He'll come on stage and onto the set. He's got a binder. Most directors have binders that they have all of their notes, and Misha can relate to this because he's directed as well. That the only way to survive as a director on Supernatural, in my opinion, and I think Misha will agree with me, is to kill yourself doing homework and prep. And if you don't show up to set with everything well thought out and have a roadmap that anybody can read and just, I mean.
And it shows in the margins of your script. You will see copious notes and arrows
sets
and diagrams
and graphs and pie charts and it's like. It just pages and pages. My binder is like this thick when the entire script is probably this thick. So it's just pages and pages of notes and diagrams and so much stuff. And exhaust ourselves doing that. And Bob comes on set with his binder, with all of his directing stuff in it. And every now and again, I just kind of take a look down and see what the master has written down. See if I can't maybe take a little something from it, and it'll be a script that is blank, except for 2 words: close up. That's it. I can't fit any more words onto the pages of and he just has close up. I'm like, oh, that's really went to town on the homework on that one, didn't you, Bob? And now it's become a thing. I can't wait to see how little he has written in his script, which just makes me feel like a complete putz because it's like he can just basically come on and shoot from the hip as though he's a sniper. And that's a testament to his experience. And but man, does that crack me up? And he I just have to come over and look at the script and go, really? That's all you did? And he just folds over laughing. It's a good bit. It's a good bit.
There is an occasional doodle.
Yeah, that's another thing. There might be something else on the page, and it's a doodle that he's done while in a production meeting. He's not listening. He's just drawing circles. Wouldn't it be nice if it was that easy? Yeah.
33 of these I've done.
33 episodes of Supernatural. This man has captained the ship. Hell yeah.
Question for Bob. In respect of the French mistake, what do you think of the characters portraying you, and is it accurate?
That was an interesting, you're getting somebody to play you. I have to give that one to Eugenie. Eugenie and Brian Doyle Murray worked together years ago in Second City. When she knew that this was going to happen, she said, "You should really get Brian." We had dinner with Brian, and Brian was like trying to, pick up stuff. I said, "Just be you, Brian. You're more interesting than I am." And he was great. So I thank Eugenie for that really brilliant idea. And I loved what he did. I mean that's probably my favorite episode of 10 years. And these guys were fantastic, and Misha being a total jerk. Himself.
You know what my favorite part of that episode was? Right after it aired, my manager at the time, this was one of the last professional conversations we had. My manager called up and said, "It's so refreshing to finally get to see you just being you." And I was like, "You thought that was really me? You're fired."
He's not kidding. I think that was it. But yeah, that was. Thank you. I was in a restaurant. This was a couple of years ago, and I hear Jensen, and I just kind of Bob, and I turned around. It was Brian Domer, and it was. I was shocked that he remembered me. I mean, it was he wasn't on that he was only on for a couple of days, but you sure Jensen, how the hell are you? That's my wife. And it was Bob? Is that it? Do I have to go? Do they have to go? I have to go. Can they stay? They can stay. I have to go.
You can do an awful lot of sign language with just one finger. That was very impressive.
Yes, this is it.
She looks like me directing.
Yeah, that's it. That was Bob directing me. Another one of my favorite. This is Bob. This is Bob's turn for the pace. We need to pick up the pace of the scene. A lot of times there's a lot of dialogue. It tends to drag, and it really when there's exposition dialogue, you really got to burn through it. Otherwise, you just you lose interest in it. But Bob just walks on stage. He's like, "That's it. Time to move. Time to go, Patrick." Guys, I'm going to leave you in very capable hands. Misha. Bob Singer. Love you guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye.